How long before people start running naked through the grass? Someone says here, whenever I tell them to. I don't want that. I don't want that much power. That would not. I need to clarify one or two things about that introduction. First, that People magazine distinction, that was 12 years ago, first of all. Second, consider the category.
Oh, there's the astrophysicist.
About being the sexiest astrophysicist. I don't know, who did I beat out for that? Stephen Hawking? I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't lead with that on my resume. It's like way down at the bottom of the website, just so you know. So I wanted to give some messages, primarily aimed to the seniors. How many seniors out here? Seniors in the house, okay. Because you're on your way out of here, right? Unless you're left back or something, I don't know. And so I just want to, I'll put things in context, because it's bad out there, right? And somebody needs to fix it. Somebody. I don't care who. Somebody needs to fix it. I'll give you some examples of how bad it is. Oh, by the way, are you guys, do you want to stand the whole time? You could sit. Can you sit? Just to sit. Can you sit? There you go. You can sit. That's why you have butt cheeks, okay? Built-in pillows. Now that feels. I like that better. That feels better. Feels more. You guys okay back there? Good. All right. So a few things, just to set the record straight here. I worry about the level of science illiteracy and math illiteracy that pervades our culture. And I have examples of this, and they're embarrassing examples. This is the United States of America, the 21st century, all right? I have walked up, I'm from New York City, a lot of tall buildings in New York City. You go inside the elevator, and you look at the numbers for all the floors, and you count them, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. And I'm thinking, where did 13 go? Somebody is superstitious enough to change the elevator bank to exclude 13 from the floor count of the building. What country is this? I feel like taking a Sharpie, crossing off the 14. That's the 13th floor. You're not fooling anybody. Then, there's a headline in the newspaper lamenting the state of education in the region. And it says half the schools in the district are below average. Well, that's kind of what an average, that's kind of what you expect. Kind of pretty much half will be below. The journalist probably meant half are below standards or below grade level. That's not what they said, though. So that was a mathematically illiterate journalist, right? When you are illiterate in these ways and you get cast into society with jobs, it has consequences. Let's go into Congress. I will not say who said this. Member of Congress once said, I've changed my views 360 degrees on that issue. They're facing the same direction. Last I checked, 360 degrees is a full circle. So they didn't change any views at all. So either they were being clever, knew what 360 degrees was, and tried to fool who they were speaking to, or they were mathematically illiterate and didn't say it right. All right? Now this sounds like it could just be innocent. Okay, they just got it wrong a little bit. But I think it has consequences. When science is not valued, when science is something people chuckle about not knowing in the corner at the cocktail party, okay? They'll say, oh, you didn't do well in math either, neither did I. You've seen people, and maybe you were one of those who did that. Suppose you were in a party and we had some geek folk in the corner, and you're like a literate, English major, and you wanted to chat about Shakespeare. And one of them said, oh, I was never good at nouns and verbs. There is no room for that. That would be unacceptable. So why do we just somehow chuckle when people don't know basic math? And I don't know the sources of, I don't know for sure. I know Europe, for example, before they went to the euro, that unit of currency, they each had currency issued from their own mint. And they would honor important people of their culture, which included scientists. If you went to England, Isaac Newton was on the £1 note. You go to Italy, they had Alexander Volta, okay? Guess what we named after him? Not the car, yes, but the unit. Also in Italy, Galileo is on the currency. You have people on the currency who were scientists. They valued their scientists. In Germany, they had Carl Friedrich Gauss, who invented the normal distribution curve. Do you realize on that Deutsch, was it 10 Deutschmarks? On that note is a picture of Gauss and a plot of his distribution function, including the equation that tracks it. Imagine if on our money we had equations. How different our world would be. And by the way, who do we think of as like the sort of best engineers in the world? Who owns that stereotype? The Germans, of course. German engineering, German cars, German this, German that. And they got equations on their money. I'm jealous of that. Now, we've got a scientist on our money. Who is it? Ben Franklin, okay? He's on the $100 bill. Some of you look befuddled. Perhaps you've never seen a $100 bill. Just work on that one when you graduate. Some jobs will allow you to see a $100 bill for the first time. He's on the $100 bill. So now let's look to see what iconography on that bill reflects his scientific interest. He was a great scientist, physicist. He had tremendous laboratories and experiments in electricity. And all these other scientists and all these other currencies, there's iconography of their trade. Yugoslavia has Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and he's got like Tesla electrical coils pictured on the back. Copernicus from Poland, it's got the heliocentric solar system. Okay? We've got iconography. Let's go to Ben Franklin. What do you have? You got Independence Hall from Philadelphia. Okay? That's where the Declaration of Independence was signed. I'm okay with that. Is there a lightning rod on it? Ben Franklin invented the lightning rod. Nowhere to be found. Is there a key? Something. Nothing. Nothing. We, as a culture, have never fully embraced science as a culture. It's never really there. And we might be surprised how well we had done in the 20th century with our science. Oh, I know why. In the 20th century, multiple times we felt threatened, militaristically threatened. And so we started funding physicists. Physicists are experts in matter, motion, and energy. And the military are experts in moving energy from here to over there. This makes physicists really valuable to the military. And so most of our scientific advances of the 20th century have come about because we felt threatened. It was the I don't want to die driver to fund this. Oh, by the way, those huge chairs are really cool. We got one over here and 3 in this chair. Now we're looking more like Woodstock, 3 in the chair. If I understand my oversized art portfolio, those chairs are the size to you what an ordinary chair is to a child. Your legs are dangling, aren't they? Yeah. So if you want to feel like a child again, sit in one of those chairs. And that's what it is like when your child's sitting in a grown-up chair. That had nothing to do with anything. So I want to talk about innovation and culture. Space as culture. Let's check it out. All right, let's go back to the Second World War. Werner von Braun works for the German army, the Nazis, essentially, and he wants to terrorize London, but he can't get to London to terrorize it. He has to do it from afar. He's a rocket pioneer. So he invents the first intercontinental ballistic missile, and it is the V2 rocket. V2 rocket. You know what this rocket looks like. It is bullet-shaped. It has fins, 4 huge fins, coming out left and right and front and back. That rocket was powerful enough to leave our atmosphere, travel through the vacuum of space, fall out of the sky, and land on a target. The V2 rocket. Everyone knew, apart from this military application of that rocket, that no one had ever sent anything out of the atmosphere before. So if there was ever going to be a future in space, that was the ticket. After the war, people were starting to think creatively. How do we use this new rocket technology to go into orbit? The V2 rocket was a sign of future dreams, holding aside the military application of it. Future dreams. So what happens? In the 1950s, all science fiction stories that had rockets to space, those rockets look like the V2. Babar goes to the moon, his rocket ship had fins. Tintin goes to the moon, his rocket ship had fins. Old episodes of The Twilight Zone, whenever they had a spaceship, they had fins. People were thinking about the future. Who here is old enough to remember the 1950s when cars had fins? It influenced car design. You might have gone up to those car designers and said, well, where did these fins come from? Oh, it just looks cool. They might not even be aware of the cultural force of what it is to dream about out there. Because when something operates as a culture, you're not even conscious of it. You just do it. You're not even thinking about it. I'll give you an example of culture operating. My first time I ever visited Italy, I go into a grocery store. And I walk by and I say, what is this? There's an entire aisle of pasta. And I thought, we don't have whole aisles of pasta. This is Italy. They invented pasta. So of course, they're going to have the most pasta of any place in the world. So they got fusilli number 2. You think they've got pasta shapes and squiggles we never see